Hello, BookTube, and this is my first video of 2024. And I will be continuing with the channel, not as prolific as I have in the past, or at least not for the first half of the year, because I still have a lot of unpacking to do, and that is physically difficult for me with the long COVID, and it lessens the number of hours I have today per day to read. But even so, I want to continue, and I'll be doing a few things that are probably not specifically book related. Sort of, I have shown some of my videos in the past, or Blu-rays. I may be doing a few things with some CD collections. I have a couple of things that I think might be of interest. But book-wise, let's confine this at the moment to books. Last year, Mark at Book Time with Elvis, at the beginning of the year, decided he wanted to read French literature, a book a month. And so I thought, oh, well, I like a lot of the stuff he's going to read. I would like to reread. So I went along with that until things started falling apart in June because of having to move. Now, so I didn't quite get it all finished, but during that time we were talking about what to read for this year, and it came up with Russian literature, because I've read quite a bit of French literature, but very little of Russian literature. And so we decided January was going to be War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy. Now, I've not read this, and it's a big book. This is the Anthony Briggs translation, Penguin Books, and it's just under 1,400 pages. And I wasn't sure if I was going to participate in this. I'm going to give it a go. I've just started it. I've only got 6 chapters done so far. And it was just going to be us doing it, but it's expanded, and there's at least a half a dozen other readers that are a part of a Voxer group that we're doing. So if you are interested in doing that, do let me know. Put your name in the comments or send me a Voxer message. My Voxer is just Sean D Standfast. You should be able to find it fairly easily, and then it's the same picture that I use for my YouTube, so you should be able to find it. So yeah, so that's for January. That's I'm gonna give it a go. I'm not going to rush through it at all. The other book, there's only 2 books for January that I know for sure I'm going to attempt. One is for my Patreon book club. And the information for that is down below. I'm not going to talk too much at all about it on this channel. It'll mostly be reserved for the Patreon and the Boxer Patreon group. And that is Frost in May by Antonia White. It's a convent school story. It's short, and it looks quite interesting. So if you are interested, then follow the link below to my Patreon page. Now, last year, I had a lot of reading plans for last year. There was a number of series that I was reading through. The major ones that I wanted to do was or reread The Strangers and Brothers by C.P. Snow. I'd like to continue that, but that'll be sort of as and when. I won't have any kind of schedule for that. Same as the Zola novels, those 20 novel sequence, Anthony Pohl's series of Dance to the Music of Time. So these will be as and when. And I may not get through everything this year, but I'm not too worried about that. But when I sort of stopped reading, I didn't quite stop reading last year. I was reading little bits, essays, and a few things like that, but not a lot. And I picked up in late September, maybe October, that I started rereading the Hyperion Cantos by Dan Simmons. And I got through Hyperion, Fall of Hyperion, and Endymion, and I started The Rise of Endymion, the last book of the cycle, or cantos, sorry, and then sort of moving really took in to high gear. So that was put on the shelf. So this will be after my January reads. This will be my next read. And I want to read that before I go into another buddy read, which is the Dying Earth Stories by Jack Vance, because there is a connection with these and Hyperion. And this is the Fantasy Masterwork series by Golands. It's their sort of adjunct to the SF Masterworks series. And this was a gift, a Christmas gift from Scott Danielson, who will be reading this, a buddy read, along with Brandy at Book Eclectic. And I can't remember, there's a few others as well. I don't think we've got a Voxer group yet, but if you're interested in any of that, do let me know. But yeah, those are sort of ones that I know that I'll be reading. Now, the other thing is, I had planned, well, I had two plans, different. I had a plan in August to start through a massive rereading of Clifford D. Simak's work. That didn't happen for a variety of reasons. I don't have everything that I want in place to do the readings. So that sort of changed to, I was going to read City in September, calling it Simakian September. That didn't happen either because of the move. Now, but this year, Scott Danielson and I are going to be reading a number of Simak books. Probably 4, maybe more. But 2 of them are going to be the biggies. City is one of them. And here's a nice hardcover edition by Old Earth Books. It's the Clifford D. Simak Centennial Edition that was put out in 2004, I think it is. 2004, yeah. And there's frontispiece of the man himself. Now, this includes also the epilogue story as well. Now, we will be reading this. Again, there's no set date yet for these. If you want to join with us, that's fine. The other one that's definite is Waystation, and I haven't unpacked my copy of that because there is a companion Waystation from this Old Earth Books that I bought, I think, probably about 2005, I think it was, when I first saw them. Yeah, so, and then at least 2 others. Now, we have a number of choices, and one of them, I think, might be Project Pope. And this is, well, as you can see, well, or maybe you can't, you're not sure. It looks sort of like knights, but no, it's robots that have sort of taken over religion. And this was published in 1981. So that is probably contender number 3. Another contender could be All Flesh is Grass. This is the British first edition of the Golands Yellow Jacket from 1966. Now, I just found out, I picked this up a couple years ago. Along with a couple other of the Yellow Jackets. This is a bit darkened on the spine, but I've just found out recently, just as an aside, that this first edition, the British first edition, is quite uncommon because most went to libraries. So that's interesting. It's not that it's worth a lot of money, but it's just interesting that it's a little uncommon. So, and if you do a search, you're not going to find too many of these. I'm not particularly enamored by Golan's, way of doing this. The yellow and the red and black. But they are collectible. But anyway, so All Flesh is Grass. All Flesh is Grass is another possibility. Another one, now moving to paperback, is The Werewolf Principle. And this, I really like this edition that they did. It's a Methuen books, but it's a medallion, I think. Methuen. Because I like the way they did the A. But anyway, this is a bit, it's sun faded in places, but yeah, so that's another possibility, and that was published in 1968. It's 67 actually, 1967. And other contenders, other possibilities are Our Children's Children, and that is 1974, originally appearing in If, or Worlds of If, science fiction. And another one, these are ones that I've just unpacked, so that's why I have them here downstairs yet, not upstairs, is Shakespeare's Planet. That's a really short one, and this is 76. So yeah, so there's going to be some Simak, definitely City and Way Station. If you have a preference for a Simak, then do let me know. And I haven't abandoned my read through of everything of his. It's on hold because there's a lot of work that I've got to do before I get to that point. And it probably will not happen this year. So yeah, and with catching up on trying to catch up stuff from last year and even before, because I want to get back to the Future History Project. I have not abandoned that either. And I have a video to do still for the last of the Empire novels, and then we're into the Foundation ones. Like, I think is it Forward the Foundation, I think, or is it Prelude? Prelude, I think, is the first one. Chronologically, at least that's how we're reading it, or I'm reading it, is chronologically. So yeah, so these are my plans for 2024, and probably a few things that are not book related as well, but we'll see how those work out. If you have any comments or suggestions or any buddy reads that you want to do, because that's where I want to, I think, concentrate a little more, is buddy reads. And there will be a few events that I will be joining, but they will be few and far between, I believe. Anyway, I hope everybody has had a good New Year's, and hopefully 2024 sees us better than 2023, but that could be wishful thinking. Anyway, take care, everybody.